All right, Mac, what is it, GH, whatever, T17, it's probably a 17-inch bar. Let's see. Let me get my number one dad. My daughter gave me this years ago. Probably something like that. Yeah, 17-inch to the tip. All right, story behind this. There is a video of this years ago. I haven't looked at it in a long time. It did okay. It's back on the channel. I'll put that link in the description. My young friend Mikey, there's a lot of Mikeys for those of you who don't know. So around here, there's a lot of Mikes. They all have nicknames. Gave me this years ago from the dump or whatever he got it from. I don't like to do too many two-strokes. I went over it. It's been running. I don't use it that often, maybe once a year. I have a bigger Ryobi, and I even have I was just telling my friend Brett, I get this big sill that my brother sent me up from North Carolina, and I do like its design. So it has been running and fixed and kind of used once or twice a year. But once I got the bigger bladed, ones, I didn't really use it this much. So I started up, we ran it, and then I brought it back out. I think there was a month of Mondays that we did around the property. And it was one of the last Mondays I went to use it, and it didn't want to go. So this is what happens to these things. Let's take it apart. There's not much going to be wrong with it. It's just been many years with whatever hoses and whatever I did. Let's get it apart, pull the plug. Maybe we'll give it a rinse with a little bit of super clean, get it cleaned up, and I'll sell it when we get it running. Time. It needs a good service, and it's got some oil and gack all around it. Let's get started. It's all Torx. There's your filter. We could give that a quickie clean. Yeah. Just needs a little bit. I'll throw out a little bit of super clean on that too in the sink over here. Yeah, she's pretty clean. Hey. It's this hose. And it just came off. It's a light penetration right through into the gas tank. The way I did it last time was I took the engine off of it. No shit, right? Because you can't get in there. So I don't want to get water in there. So we need to plug that up. See it? That hole. So we got to plug that up. We got to take the engine off to do it. Because the way you want to pull the hoses is you want to be able to pull them through the gas tank and up, and then leave the excess, and then you terminate. So I want to get also a couple of shots, and I put a little tie wrap here. That's what I say, right? These are pain in the neck. Now let's get a closer look. So this is how it should look. I'll take a shot too of it. When we're done, and you might be able to see it. Let me turn around the other way. You'll see it more when we get it opened up. There it is. All right, while it's still mounted to the body, we'll pull the plug. You know what I mean? That's not bad, fellas. She's been running good. Chocolatey. So this is the smaller hose, and it's coming from the primer bulb, which is in good shape. Okay. And then that's coming from the primer. Small bulb. Then the other end of the primer goes down into the tank. Back here it looks like. All right, so that's a good length, so we want to keep that length. And then there's the throttle, which comes up around the top, connects in here, and on this one, right, see, so this is one hole, 2 holes in from my right, which is opposite of the pickup tube and the adjustments. So that's where we want to be with that. And that is connected to the body, to the switch. So we need to kind of pull that up. We're going to want to go in the carburetor. So all that needs to do is you just need to loosen this up. You know, it's the last time I'm going to go over the saw. Just loosen it. Yeah, no, we got to take it off. And there's a screw. There's your washer. So you got nut and washer. There's the screw. Kind of captive. We want to be careful with it. Screw or bolt. Now we can take the carburetor off, because we need it off anyway. Might as well take it off now. Muzzle. And we'll peek in. So we got that. We got our nuts. These nuts. Yeah, a little bit of weepage. We're going to put this to the side. All right, we'll clean that up later. You got a split in the handle here. I think we'll take it from here. But then there's also screws in the front here. And then there's these nuts. Got to be careful because they come out. Right. Looks like it's all pretty sharp too, still. Well, I haven't used it. So now, we do have that switch. So we don't want to pull on it too much. And we got a wire here, which I'll show you. So down in here, next to the throttle cable is the switch. And I remember this is why it's so difficult to deal with. Yeah, underneath here. Got it. So we got to get that wire on. That should kill. What else we got? Got the kill. Ground here. See it? See that ground right here. So we got to get the ground on, ground last, then there's that cable which slides in. We'll show you that in a bit. So here's our motor. So I'm going to clean that off. I'll plug this hole here. We'll get this cleaned off real quick. I want to just bring it outside with the hose. Yeah, let me just bring everything outside. I'll kind of get everything closed up. We'll get everything kind of quick hosed off. And then I'll bring it in, I'll blow it. Let it drip. And I'll see you guys in a bit. We got to get everything cleaned up. Now, hopefully I have enough hose left, because to do this, we need a lot of extra hose. So this is the finished length of the one that fell out, but it's not enough. Now, I could see that the filter assembly, the pickup hose, it fell off as well. So it's just a failure after many, many years. They do make better hose than this, but that filter's clean. All this is good. Now, this is connected to a connector that's inside the tank. So this hose here, now there's a filter there. That's actually an air filter. Here, we could see it there. A couple of days later, so everything's dry. Little pad. So this hose, give it a chance to focus. I may want to change the focal point on it. So it's going into the pump here. And the little one that comes out, that goes over to the carburetor. That's the small one. We're probably going to need to cut it. Let's put a little bit of my lube on. This needs a little bit more gas in it. I know the bar is going to get in the way. See, it comes right off. Now, we're not going to get this to pull through. So we got to cut it close. And you'll see what I mean. Let's just put this to the side. That's basically our length, but the lengths we'll establish later. Now we got to go in there. You're not going to be able to see that, but you'll see what I mean. This is partly why she's so difficult to do, but it's not the end of the world. And I don't have to think about what size is as much. See, there it is. Okay. So one of the ways to do it is to push it how I did it. That's just like a splice connector. And you'll see is I'll take the hose of the correct diameter and everything, and I'll get a nice long piece, and we'll push it in, pull it all the way through. Now let me see what else is in there. The tank is clean. Now in here, behind this is one of those little tank valves. It's like a little green valve. This is all clean, so we're okay. We're not going to touch that. It's usually what you find in the cap on a lot of these machines, but no, it's there, out of the way, so you're not going to lose it or damage it, and it looks like it's okay. I've changed the focus area to be centered, and I think that'll work better. So I've taken this, I've cut off a nice length. And the most important thing is right here. You want a smooth, like, ramp cut on the profile. And I'm gonna put a little lube just on the hole. We shouldn't really need too much of it. It'll work. We'll add as we go, and see if we can slip that in there enough. We get enough in there. Yeah, there it goes. And we just want it, once you get it to pull through, we're golden. We can always add more lube. Yeah, here it comes. Now, I use these forceps, and one of the things you can do is twist it to try to lock it in. Sometimes I try to twist it around itself. That makes it a little easier to pull. But no matter what you do, it's going to fight you, especially once you get over. You got to get past this like little step. There it goes. Now it's starting to go. Now we can grab it with something bigger. You're not going to be able to see everything I'm doing, but you're getting the idea. Okay? See, now we got it. I want to see if I can replace that. I can see that one's a particular type. It's got that. It's got like a valve in it, and there's like two little fingers. Pinch those fingers in, and then with a screwdriver I can push it down. Yeah, like I said, there it goes. Like I said, it's not easy, but it's not ridiculously difficult. See, it's got the little pinchies if you're not familiar. So there's two different sizes, and one side does something different, and you'll see one side's the sucky side. So this side, I think, is the suck. Watch, I'll push it in, and I'll put my finger over it. Hear it? Hear it? That's the suction side. Now we got this guy. I'm gonna go look for some scrap. This guy's nice and clean. It ran fine. It just, the hose is finally let go after so many years. So we can cut this off. We don't need a very big piece. Yeah, that's like bullshit rubber. I'm gonna blow this real quick. You don't need this. So what we can try is not using it with a long piece. One of the reasons why they like to use it is you see this little bump? Well, when you pull, if you connect it to the end of this hose and you pull it up, right, you're gonna pull that bump in to some degree, and it'll swell up. Now you won't be able to pull the hose out anymore. And if you know what this length is, it cannot pull out. But see, it can fall off here, and it kind of creates a bit more of a seal. Let's try not using that. You know, I'm not sold on that concept. So now we can cut this off. And let me just blow this out. So one of the things that we can do, I mean, it doesn't really need it, but we're here. It's nice and heavy. That's what I like about these. Now I'm going to blow it away from the camera. Let me go in the other room. Hold on. That's good. It's clean now. Now we'll install it here. It should fit. Is you can just stretch the hose a little bit. I'll zoom in a little more. Just on the end, just to flare it a little. Yeah. Yeah, that's going on good. Yeah, it's all the way down. Now I can drop it in here and see where it wants to lay. See if we can get a good spot. Yeah, I don't want it to loop around. I want it to lay on the bottom. Now I'm going to pull some of the excess off. Yeah, it's down there in the handle. Yep. I'm just going to take a little bit more of that. Yeah, I like that better. It's down here. It's laying flat on the bottom of the tank. So now this is basically done, this part. And then we have this guy, which is really the same, almost the same hose. It's hard to say because it's gotten crushed here from being in there. And this went over to this. So let's just see if this hose fits on. Yeah. Yep. All right, let me see what I want to do. Let me see if I have another one of these. All right, so this guy here, this is still in good shape, but we're going to put it to the side. I found one that's a little bit newer. I have one new one left. So I already put on the hose. That's a piece of scrap I had. Let's just push it in and see. Yep. So we're correct there. Now we confirm. Now this is the pickup. And so why don't we just do this now? So I actually labeled it, but we can take that label off now if you want. Or we can leave it on. You know what? Let me leave it on. This guy kind of wound up like this. There wasn't a lot of extra. We can retrim it, but we want enough to be able to pull it out and connect it. I kind of like the original routing, so why don't we just be smart about it? Good, nice guesstimate length, and we'll put our cut right here. We'll give it just a scotch more, right, for error. Now we got more of this to work with. And we'll cut just a little bit more. We'll pull this guy through. Goes right on. Now let's lock and load. Usually they only go on one way, but sometimes they don't. That's in. Done. This will lube one more time later on. All right, so this I'm going to hold on to because it's definitely good for testing. So this comes over to the carburetor, the top of the carburetor. And this is essentially supplying some of the return in the feed. This is a return back to the tank. It has to go into the tank. And it looks like, I think that's where we're going to put this. Okay. So let's cut this off, because that's how I like to do the returns, and I've seen that on a lot of factory, because you pull it in taut, kind of helps to seal. That is your length. It won't pull out. And we don't even actually have to take that part off. We could leave that. Yeah, this went down here. Yeah, fits good. And then the little guy, right? Went up at the top, that's good. And then it should also fit this guy. Yep. All right, now, we're almost done with this part. Now I want to taper my cut. So I got a nice taper. Probably should have done this one first because it's back further. Put a little lube on it. Doesn't want to grab it, but it's almost in. We pushed it in quite a bit. You could actually leave it like that, but no, I want to do what I want to show you. So we're going to cut off the excess. Don't pull too hard. Pull consistently and let the tubing stretch a bit. That'll reduce its size. Just pull consistent. You don't want to overstress the tubing. Now you'll see what I mean. And it'll keep going. You know, when you apply pressure, it'll go slowly, and it'll just, you'll be like, oh, it's still pulling. Now we just want to pull this through. Right, until it stops. All right, and as you stop, and now you won't lose it. It comes right up. That should be good. Because we have that length right here, and that's the part that penetrated in. You could see how it got collar crushed there. It should be good. Feels like it's in there tight. And again, we'll go with just a scotch extra because there's already a bit of extra on the end of it. Now we've got everything we need. I'll clean up in here. But what I do want to do, now this was lubed once, but what we'll do is we'll put some of the liquid wrench. Actually, I see white grease too on that. There we go. Let that druze in, hold through a bunch of times. Let's come from this side. Yeah, that's golden, fellas. All right. We wipe up, clean up. We're going to mount the motor in a minute. You want to be careful with this because it is sharp. So maybe I want a rough house with it. Yeah, that's better. Now, we have our ground, but the harder one is the ignition switch. So our ground is, this is the ignition switch, and that has to go there, and here's our ground. And they go underneath that. Oh, how do we get to that, fellas? I need to get it seated. Before we can wire it, it has to get seated. That's in the way. Let's put a couple of screws in, and I'll leave them loose. See, this spring is a little twisted. It's going to fight me a little. There we go. I'm not going to tighten it yet, like I said. Make sure we're down and we're not crushing anything. Yeah. there it is. Oh yeah, there's plenty of room now. I just need to figure out what I'm going to use to poke that back in. It's a blade connector, so, and we need to get the ground. Oh, the ground is harder to get to. I should have got the ground first then, I guess. Yeah. Darn it. Yeah, so the ground, you got to put the ground first. I might be able to still get to it, but let me work with it. Take a quick break, get my fingers ready. I got my coffee. Sit down, let's zoom in. All right, all set. Let's take a look at this pump side. Yeah, it's not bad. It's clean. Let's see the diaphragm. So gasket towards carburetor. And the diaphragm's up on top of it. And that sometimes is different. Now let's see. We might want to put another one on. This is the one where it's got a very small little actuator, like a little nipple, teat, or whatever. Hear it? Yeah, that's not good. It should be like linen. So I should have another one of these. Remember, all right, so gasket underneath. That's how it was. It ran, so, you know. Yeah, she's time. It's time. I did this to my still a little while back because I've had that one, my still trimmer. And I want to fix the still, I'm talking line trimmer, weed whacker. I want to fix my brother gave me a really nice still, really big, nice still hedge trimmer, but the guy that he let use it, you know, was trying to encourage him to work and give my brother a hand with other stuff. Well, he broke the transmission. It was like $200. That was a few years ago. Now, what we can do, it's probably at least that much now. Use this as a release agent so we don't tear anything. Yeah, I see it did tear a little bit, but that's not a problem. So that usually is good. I do see a little bit of junk. We're going to give it a wash. So there's a Mylar. Again, gasket now is towards this section. Yeah, we may not want to fuss with that. There's the screen. So a little quick wash. Yeah, we don't want to take that up. So just a quick wash. And then I'm going to blow it with compressed air because I don't want to screw up this stuff here. Usually they come off, but right, coming right out from there. That's good. Right? Shoot the camera. Yeah, that's good. There's our choke. All right, get the throttle open a little bit. We don't want to leave this on there too long. You can use WD. All right, let's get this cleaned up. Yeah, that's good, fellas. That way you don't damage it. We'll put a little bit of our sauce on so it doesn't get damaged. The screen is clean. Everything looks really good. We're just going to replace that diaphragm. We'll get that in a minute. Yeah, that looks good. So you got to engage that little idle adjustment. Just open up the throttle a little bit. Let everything set down again. Let's go a little bit at a time. All right, I'll be right back. I'll go find that bladder. So here, like I said, this is the very small actuator. And now here's one that I have. It has a much bigger actuator. So very similar, but not the right one. But this is, again, thanks to HIPAA. I think this one got a little damaged. I can actually see it. So it got a little bit damaged in the package. Don't bend these. So that's an emergency, but we'll take another one and put this one back. The numbers on the HIPAA package aren't right, especially up here. These are like routing numbers. Oh, I gotta go close that door. So you gotta check your carburetor. This is like a HIPAA pack of 20. It looks like an A015-006 or 5906. Yeah, let me close that door. So they're very hard to read, and a lot of them are routing numbers. You've got to go online and check. You know, everybody always wants, you know, these part numbers and everything. And for some things, it doesn't work that way, especially with the aftermarket stuff. You may even be able to find an aftermarket carburetor for this and bypass all of this. But you should know how to rebuild one of these. So I'm just going to put a little bit of my sauce on there. You can use 2-stroke too if you'd like. There's a little teat, right, that it lays in because it only uses 2 screws. So it can only go one way. So on this one, the gasket went there, I believe. Let me check again because it just walked away. And of course that actuator, this actuator goes down towards the carb. Let me go check to make sure because I got distracted. Let's make sure. So yeah, gasket towards carburetor. So if we have an issue, right, fortunately, this is easy to get to. It's getting stuck a little bit because of the liquid. Oh, let me shut that off too. I've seen it where if you have a longer actuator, like this one, where I've been able to use it if I put the gasket down first, and that because it increases the depth of travel. So, but we'll know. Like I said, it ran fine. I just don't use it that often. And then sitting is the worst, especially for a 2-stroke. Where are we? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Choke working. Throttle's nice. These are the nice ones, right? You know, slightly older, everything's metal. Right, now they started making like the chokes plastic. On some of the CS Craftsman line trimmers, they didn't even put a choke blade in. So it was just whatever the width was in the flat of the shaft. And when they were new, that was to pass some stupid emission California thing. And when they were new out of the box, they would have worked a little bit, you know, for the most part. But as soon as you get any age on it and you go to like rebuild the carburetor or whatever, good luck, throw it out because it won't work. Let me clean up. We're going to put this on the saw in a minute. And yes, that does come out. It slid its way out. That's okay. Let's stabilize the carb. couple of with these bolts or nuts. It's got to be there. Come here, you. And I think we said, is the second one in? Let me go look. Arch, why don't you check before? I don't know. Seems like it because it's the right tension. No. That's good. That's behind the choke. Yeah, we could come underneath. Make it a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah. Yeah, it went down good. I'm liking that. Oh, I see. This helps to support the choke bar or choke rod. Put a touch of chain lube down on that seal and in here. Everything looks good in there. We'll put a touch of chain lube in that too. And let me clean up this plug. All right, it doesn't look all that bad. It's a small plug. Yeah, let me get it cleaned up. I'll be back. Touch of nose seas. I cleaned it up good. It's still at 28, so it never really lost its gap. Everything's looking real good. Yeah, that's tight. Put this piece on too in a bit, but first, yeah, that looks a little sticky. I'm just gonna put a touch, like in here, just a little bit around the pivot and where that spring goes, because we washed it, and pull it through. Yeah, she's a little sticky. That's better. Yeah, it's clean. Clean enough. We got it pretty darn clean. You get out any excess. So low and high, and there's your idle. So it actually has the cutouts in it for adjustment. Boy, you don't get that anymore. That's why I kept it. But because I don't use, let's give it a pull on. Yeah, make sure it's engaging. But you know, you don't get stuff like that. Oh, the good old days. We'll put a little sauce on this. Very nice machine. I'm sure no one else will appreciate it the way I do. But we don't care. We just need a customer. I can't ask a lot. I'll go put some high test fuel in. And I guess I'll bring it outside and run it, even though it's really windy out. It's going to make noise into camera audio. But so what? You're not really going to be hearing me. We just want to listen to this thing, and I'll let it run for a little bit. And then we want to get the rest of the stuff back on, and lube just put some oil on the bar. And kind of like, one of the things I like to do is I like to let it run for a bit and then shut it off, let it cool down. It doesn't feel like it's moving right. Yeah, she's all right. It just seems to, sometimes it's nice to actually just come back the next day and then check it again. Then you can give it a little bit more of a tune. I don't know why that is. I think just when you're replacing things like with gaskets and the bladder and all the rest of the stuff, it makes a difference. You get the fuel in, you press the bubble, give it a minute to let it soak into the filter and all. You press the bubble. If the bubble fills up, you're halfway there. Oh yeah, it's windy out. All right, the bubble filled up. So we have prime, and let's put choke. So this should be, let's see. I think stop this down. Yep. Got a little bit more prime. Put some choke on it. And is that a lock? I'm not sure what that is. Let's just see what happens. Take off the choke. And we got an idle. All right, I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit longer. And then I'll bring it in, put the rest of the stuff on, get the chain lube, and restart. A little heavier weight. Oh, she ran good. All right, on. Quick pulse. Touch it, choke. So sweet. All right, that's it. It's done. Runs really good. Doesn't even need an adjustment. I mean, I'm sure you could fool with it, noodle it, but it runs really good, and I have adjusted it before. So we went through the whole machine, and I got to say, other than, the hokiness with the fuel tank, but it's a compact saw, and it's a very good one. These were very good motors. I'll see if I can get a date on it. I got to put my glasses on, but I'll look later. Not that I really care. It is an older one. I've had it for 4 years at least, something like that, and I have used it. It's just I want to get those other saws working, and I think it'll be a worthy machine. Oh, hold on. Some of the machines today, they don't have this standard of build, and there's Chinese carb on here, and it's probably not all sourced parts from the United States. You'll see in a lot of the newer lawnmowers will say made in USA from globally sourced parts, right? So there's some plant, they slap a few things together. Most of the Briggs stuff, everything else is really made in China. And of course, this isn't going to last long either, because they'll just move it to Mexico or whatever, or just make everything in China and get rid of those older products. My friend Rob, I showed this on a live show last Saturday, and this is an old Heinz root beer, Hires rather, root beer. Yeah, it was real root juices. It's old. And he goes, I bet you that crate is worth more than the saw. Yeah, it probably is. He called me stepping on it one day, and he wasn't happy. He's like, weren't you? You can't really fix it up. You could clean it gently with a brush and a little bit of detergent. Some people will buy this just the way it is. It was here when I moved in many, many years ago, and I was rebuilding this place. So if you're looking for a machine like this, I'm going to try to put it up for 60. Hopefully somebody will buy it. If not, then next year. You just can't get much for this stuff. Be careful what you do with these things, because, I mean, if it's for just you and you're looking as a hobby and you're thinking maybe I can just kind of pick something up real cheap or find it thrown out somewhere and see if I can fix it, I totally think that's worthy. Good shout out to HIPAA for helping out with this project. They don't know, but they'll know now. So yeah, they supplied some of the hosing and everything else, and I've been using some of that stuff for years. The HIPAA packages, you can get a package of the multi-sizes, so that's very nice to have laying around. I might want another pack of that. I don't do a lot of two-strokes because they're very finicky. People don't treat them right. If they don't get the mix right, they burn out the motor. And also there's the seal. Remember, I lubricated that top seal? Well, there's one on the bottom. And if those seals start to leak, on some of these machines, it's almost impossible to get to them. Some of them. If they start to leak, it won't start right, it won't run right if it runs at all, even if you have compression. This I took care of. When I got it, it was still in good shape. It's been in the shed. Somebody's going to get a nice machine. I almost feel bad getting rid of it because it's just a nice machine. And it's getting harder and harder to find quality like this. Unless, of course, if you're going to spring for the big bucks for like a Still or something like that, or maybe an Echo, or I don't know. But you got to buy the good ones. You can't buy the box store trash. I'll see you guys in the next one.